inside another dimension, face battling barbarians and evil magic on a quest for adventure in a maze of monsters. Once you get into it, you'll never be the same. Hero Quest. Now with 2 new adventure packs, the legend grows.
Hi, welcome back to Not Your Mother's Hobbies. Today we're going to look at the next Elven mercenary included in Dreadmoon, the Scout. This one's got a really awesome sculpt. I mean, I feel like a broken record or I'm skipping around or something because all these sculpts from Dreadmoon have been awesome. They have just been top-notch, and this one falls right in line. Really cool action pose. He definitely looks like a Scout. So, as for the concept art, the card art and matching that, I was a little worried about how gray and monotone it would be, but I think I found some ways around that. Ways to break up the silhouette, add some little color in there, while keeping it pretty true to the artwork. Alright, we're going to start things off with Basilicanum Gray, and this is going to hit all of the cloth, all of his clothing, his under armor, or what have you. So it's his pants, he's got some shirts underneath, well I guess one shirt, but yeah, so we're going to hit all of that with this Basilicanum, as well as his weapon, any of the metallics. There's not a lot on this guy, so you do not have to worry too much there. Oh, and he's got some little half-finger gloves on top of that, and a big old wolf head on his shoulder. So all those things we're going to base coat with this Basilicanum to get all that gray set in. You don't want to forget to turn that mini around and hit the metallics on the back on the shield. He's got some trim as well as some bolts and scraps of steel and a cool wolf emblem. So all those parts. And when that's done, we're going to come back with a little bit of a dry brush of Gray Seer. We did this with the other Elven mercenary, right, the Striker, and we're going to do that here. And that's just going to break up some of the grays that we have going on. There's going to be a lot of grays and a lot of tones of gray, and this is just going to help separate some of that monotone color. So just go around, a little bit of a dry brush. Be sure to hit that wolf head, as well as you can see the mask here, the gloves, and what have you. Just adding a little bit of texture and variation in those spots. Coming in with Black Templar, we're going to base coat the cloak that he's got going on. This cloak goes under the shield. It's a cape that swoops around. It comes around his sides, goes over his shoulders, loops around the front. It's a big hood. Get all that spot. Come back with a thinner brush. Get all the little details around there. Also his boots, we're going to do this color as well. I felt it would go better with that dark vibe he's got going on than some brown ones. So we're doing black boots. You can see here I'm putting in the hair, but you don't have to worry about the hood, just the face and the mask. Because as you can see, we're painting that hood all black. Coming in here for his padded armor, we're going to hit that with Nuln Oil. Once or twice, once should be good enough, but if it doesn't settle in some of the cracks you want it to, come back with the second coat. You can see here on the shoulder pad that is going to be a problem in just that little area right there. So I came back in and did a little second coat. You can do that too. Just go around, hit all those padded armor that he's got going on with some of this. As well, you can see I used it for that one sleeve that he's got under there. Snakebite leather here for all of the leather bits. It's got some gloves, some belts. Not too much going on when it comes to the leather. So just do your due diligence, look around. There's a sneaky little shoulder pad right here under that wolf pelt. So be careful around there and be sure to hit that. We've also got some wood on his back for his shield that we can use this same snakebite for. And of course all the trim around his padded armor and the like. Here you get a good look at what that shield looks like, where we put some of that Basilicanum Gray and blocking in the metal, as well as our wood coverage, what that's kind of going to look like. We're using Cygor Brown here, and this is going to be for all of this guy's skin. We're going to give him a dark skin tone, just like that artwork. And if you've seen my recipe for dark skin before, this is how we block it in. It's a dark brown here with a nice red tone to it, which is good for flesh in my opinion. Here we're going Gulliman Flesh for all of the gold metallic blocking. There's not a lot on this guy. I think it's literally just that handle. And we're coming back here with some Nuln Oil to hit up those fur spots. We're only going to do one coat on these furry spots. You could also do an Agrax Earthshade, but you can see the color difference between the padded armor 2 coats and the fur 1 coat. Here we go, layering up. We got Gray Seer. We're going to hit this on the wolf head and go in there and do a couple layers, building up that gray, making it very ferocious looking. Get all those little details that he's got going in there. Lots of little fur details in that head. We're also going to highlight that one lone shirt sleeve that we did, as well as dot in some detail for the padded armor. You just do the top right corner or the top half of those guys. You don't got to do the whole patch inside that padded armor. Gunmetal for our silver metallics. Again, not a lot going on for the silver metallics on this guy. Just a couple things like the sword blade, his bracers, as well as a little belt buckle I'm looking for. There it is. Not a lot. Should be pretty easy. Then, of course, we're going to cover that over with Nuln Oil Gloss if you got it. If you don't, just use a dark tone shade like Nuln Oil, and you can either mix it or do 2 coats, one of the shade and one of a gloss varnish. Up to you how you like to do it, either mix or 2 layers. Blood Reaver Flesh, we're using that to highlight up this guy's flesh. Forehead, cheeks, there's not a lot to work with in terms of detail and surface area, so use your smallest brush, get in there, following up with Night Quester as well, get those highlights going. Retributor Armor for the gold bits, which is just that sword hilt again. The crossguard and the pommel. Reikland Flesh Shade Gloss on top, or again, a flesh shade followed by a gloss varnish or a mix. Dark Reaper here. We're using this kind of blue-gray to highlight up the cloak. So all the stuff that we did with Black Templar or our black, we're going to hit up with this Dark Reaper. It's going to add a little bit of color to this guy, break it up from the monotony of all the grays and blacks and whatnot. Had we done a gray cloak rather than a like blue-black cloak, I feel like it would have just been so boring and we'd lose a lot of details. So once you finish with that Dark Reaper mid-tone, we're going to come in with a quick Fenrisian Gray dry brush just on the tips and the most hardest edges. We're going to come in here and put some of that on there, as well as the top where you get hit with a lot of light. Right, Cadian Flesh Tone. For our dark flesh, this is our glossy highlight that I like to do on lighter flesh. This is how we achieve that on darker flesh. Putting that Cadian Flesh Tone in there, it's going to get us a nice fleshy highlight for that dark flesh. Coming in with Chrome to highlight up our sword, our metallics, our gold. Give it that really shiny ping here and there, ping, ping, ping. Don't forget the back of the shield. Here you can see what that's looking like. When you're putting your gunmetal and all that on, don't forget to do that shield. That's also metal too. So here's what that looks like, and we're highlighting it up. Macragge Blue. We're going to use that for the hair. We're going to get that Uncanny X-Men so black it's blue hair going on. So that's our first layer of highlight before we go in with the bold titanium white to give it that real stylized bright white highlight in the middle there. That'll finish the effect. We're also going to use this white to highlight and add detail to all the fur trim. Go around and dot in some texture and highlight up that furry trim. Wraithbone here. We're going to use this for the threads across his chest that keep his jerkin closed. And then lastly, we do our regular basing with a paint, texture paint, dry brush, shade, and a dry brush. And there you have it. We have our finished Elven Scout. Looking real awesome. We can see all of those details in there. Lots of color variation for being so monotone. We get all kinds of different details showing. We get different gradients and grades of our grays and blacks and what have you. Looking pretty cool. I was really thrilled with how this came up. For being so worried initially about how it would come out, I feel like we did a pretty good job. And if you think I did a good job, let me know in the comments down below. Give me a little thumbs up or thumbs down if you hated this one, if you thought it was poo-poo doo-doo. Either way, that is another Elven mercenary in the bag. We are getting pretty close to finishing Dreadmoon. I'd say this is the halfway point if you include some terrain tutorials. With what's remaining and what's coming up, what are you guys excited for? I'm definitely looking forward to the next expansion. I'm looking forward to that boss. The Dread Wraith is going to be pretty cool. I think more than anything, I'm looking forward to some of the unique terrain from this one. That'll be fun. I want to give a thank you for everybody for watching, sticking along. The support of the community is always welcome. You guys are great. If you want to support in another way, I have started a Patreon. You can see some of the top supporters' names right here. That gives you access to behind-the-scenes posts, as well as a Discord server if you're interested in that. If not, thank you so much for watching, for subscribing, for commenting, and all that jazz. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye!